I don't know. The word hits me like 3 shots to the chest. Those spiked Iron Legion rounds that shatter apart and lodge in your sternum. We stared, not at the body, at the commander. Where was the plan? The next great idea? There was always another plan. This one was supposed to be a triumph, our killing blow. Burn me, even prophecy was on our side, and that it was over. Horin was dead. Dragon's Watch, done. Just like Destiny's Edge. Just like the last time I couldn't stop it. Orin, dead. Krogtoric, gone. Just gone. Back into the mists, with no way to chase him down. A lifetime of Blood Legion training drilled into my head and told me to pick up Sahotin and go after the damn dragon anyway. Pierce you, destroy. No hesitation, no fear. I could have done more, should have done more. 11 years ago, I watched Glint fall out of the sky. Today, I watched Krogtoric murder our last hope. Kate was there too. Thought she'd fell the same as me. She'd been there the first time. She'd been there when snuff. I thought she'd be furious. She wasn't. The commander joined her by the twisted corpse of the Krogtoric left behind. Orin impaled, forever frozen in her death throes. I saw tears but no rage. Where was their rage? Where was the plan? How were we going to win? Kate, the commander, Tiny Bram, all grieving for the dead dragon, no anger for the one that escaped. How could they murder a dragon?
You have to trust me, Rytlock.
How many times had I heard that from the commander? It was never not a stupid plan, raising one dragon from birth to kill another and fulfill some sort of foretold destiny. Char don't even raise their own cubs. How is anyone supposed to raise a dragon? It was always a stupid plan, but I went along with it, not because of trust. No, this was about loyalty. They are loyal to their warband, their brothers and sisters in arms. The bonds forged in battle and stronger than any bloodline, but in the far we also thought that losing warband mates will happen. For the greater good, victory above all, honor to the warband, glory to the High Legion. Acceptable roses, Ruinbringer calls them. Sure. Destiny's Edge, Dragon's Watch, for over a decade they've been my warband, my family. They've been loyal to me. I tried to be loyal to them. They put their faith in me to achieve victory above all. Even with acceptable losses, I didn't do enough. Krogtoric is in the mist. Soon he'll either brand the old world or swallow up the mist. So we hunt him down and we kill him. Simple, right? Yeah. No, not really. Orin was the only way to save Theria. She was supposed to kill the crystal dragon, absorb his magic, and I don't know. It's not like we had better options. Every other plan ends with the annihilation of all existence. Even if we somehow did manage to end Krogtoric without her, all that magic inside him, from Zaytan, Mordremoth and Balthazar, the boom wouldn't be pretty. All of my friends, my family, they're going to die in this doomed world because I'm failure. Always have been.
Rytlock, Rytlock, Rytlock.
The damn chorus of voices all around me again. Open palms shoving me to the ground. Clawed feet kicking me while I'm down. And somewhere behind it all is my voice mole, alone screaming for them to stop. They don't. Not until I wake up. I knew I'd get back at them someday. Me and my friends. We'd make them all stop. We'd hurt them like they'd hurt us. I became the leader of my warband, trading every day, slaughtering countless enemies. A legend among the char. They'd knock me down, but I'd always stand back up. I never dream about that. Why can I ever dream about that? I was the runt of the leader. I'd always be the runt of the leader, no matter how many enemies I tore apart, no matter how many elder dragons I killed. Even if I was a conqueror, I'd always be Rytlock. I couldn't change that. All I could do was stand back up after they pushed me down. But even when I silenced those voices for good, I never got them out of my head or my nightmares. Not until I found Sahotin. Always through, it was more of an Ash Legion job. Infiltrate the Flame Legion and sabotage Gaheron Belfire's operation from the inside. Normally, that means sending an envoy to the Black Citadel to set up a joint operation. But Imperator Rimbringer didn't trust Ash Legion, still doesn't. Doesn't trust anyone, really. He just sent the two of us, me and Krisha. She was like one of those knives made out of Kantan porcelain, flawless and sharp enough to cut you to pieces. Kree was perfect for the job, Rimbringer said. What he meant was, she was a female. Belfire wouldn't said it coming, wouldn't suspect her of being a Blood Legion warrior in disguise. He was right. Burn him. Rimbringer usually is. Getting into the garrison was easy. Maybe the job itself would be too, if I didn't spend most of my time just trying to avoid killing everyone I met. That was hard. Krisha was better. Poisoned food, stole plans, swapped orders, Flame Legion didn't suspect a thing. Then we got some news. Something big going through the ranks. The Flame Legion had found something and was bringing it our garrison. Something incredible. They'd found Sahotin. I tried to learn more, but sneaking around, gathering intelligence, not exactly my strong suit. Here's what the two of us figured out. The Flame Legion sent some troops to the Ring of Fire to look for an ancient relic that belonged to a human prince, Rorik. Was supposed to have been a gift from their god of war, Balthazar. When we heard that the blade was leaving our garrison for Fireheart Rise to be delivered to the Imperator Belfire himself, well, I couldn't let that happen. Of course, I couldn't just steal it. I had to tell my warband mate what I was planning. Problem was, Kree was doing too good a job to leave it all behind. When I told her what I was going to do, she told me I'd get myself killed. Probably put her at risk too. If I got caught, it wouldn't make them long to figure out which Imperator we really answered to. But I was young. I couldn't let Belfire get his claws on Sahotin, and my head was full of... I was young. We were young. I did what I thought I had to. I killed the guards protecting Sahotin and claimed it for myself. Begged Krisha to come with me. Maybe she even considered it. I'll never know, because she didn't. She stabbed me in the leg with a parking knife to slow me down and sounded the alarm. Later, she told Rimbringer she was trying to make it look good. Can't say I appreciated it at the time, even if the work. She kept up in the act for the years after I got away. Her fine line and sharp edges. The scar on my leg reminds me of what I did. Still makes me wonder if Kree was one of those acceptable losses our teachers in the Fire like to talk about so much. But in the end, I had Sahotin. That was what mattered. Imperator Ringbringer wasn't happy to see that I'd blown my cover, but stealing Belfar's secret weapon, that improved his mood. Now that I was back with my stone warband, Ringbringer decided to put us on the front lines of the next major attack, with me and Saladin at the fore. He wanted the Flame Legion to see their precious artifact in the claws of the enemy. He wanted the Flame Legion to see their own cut down by its magic. He wanted the Flame Legion to fear the fire. And they did. Battle after battle sought in cleave through the enemy lines. Their arrows, their blades, their magic. It all knocked me down, but I always got back up. My legend grew. My power grew. My warband grew. Distant. But that didn't matter to me. I had Saladin, and I was unstoppable. I won battle after battle, setting those Flame Legion zealots ablaze like dried kindling. Rytlock Brimstone was the most feared char on the battlefield. My superiors tried to order me around, tried to push me down, but with Saladin, nobody would ever push me around again. My superior didn't like that very much. I should have you executed, you know that. I remember the way Rumbringer's eyes shone and his teeth flashed in that dimly lit chamber at the Blood Citadel. He claimed that I didn't follow orders, that I put my fellow char at risk, that I thought I was better than he was. I told him I had opinions about my orders. On the battlefield, he sneered. That's a bad place to have opinions. The next words out of my mouth were a mistake. Only if we lose, I said. I've yet to fight a losing battle. Rimbringer rose from his throne. I tried to stand taller, dignified. Well, you're in one right now. I gritted my teeth. I knew what was coming next, or at least, I thought I did. You will not become a gladium, Rimbringer said. You're being promoted. I was confused, but told him I was honored. That was a mistake too. Rimbringer showed me a heavy parchment, folded, sealed with wax. I'll be going on a little tour of the legions, he continued. Maybe your motivational presence will deliver them the same victory you've brought us. Just execute me. The other legions, they don't fight like blood. Iron covers beyond their machines. Ash skulks around in the shadows, but there was no reasoning with him. Rimbringer enjoyed the thought of me being miserable more than he enjoyed winning. Rimbringer enjoyed the thought of me being miserable more than he enjoyed winning. All of my victories, all the blood I'd spilled in my legion's name, in that moment, it meant nothing. I never thought I'd feel that impotent again. I was there, in the crystal desert. The sands were glass. I looked right, Glint's corpse. I looked left, her sanctuary just a blasted ruin. And in front of me, Snuff. What was left of him. I could have done more to save the little Shura. If I hadn't been so fixed on killing a crystal dragon, I would have seen the branded swarming him. All the power of Saladin, and Snuff was still torn apart right before my eyes. But I didn't learn. I never learned. I'd have to make more mistakes, more people had to die. I'd have to meet the god of war and fire before that lesson got through my thick skull.
Is that your sword?
Scurried far in the mists. It was deep, powerful. Maybe in life he'd been some great lord, crossed someone he shouldn't have wound up enchained in this wasteland. My eyes were on the blade buried deep in the stone, its flame long extinguished. Finally sight after. How long had it been? Time is strange in the mists.
I only ask,
the stranger said. Because it looks like Sohotin's lost its spark.
I stopped, or maybe just my heart did. How do you know its name? The stranger smiled. People are strange in the mist too.
Who doesn't know of Sohotin?
He asked.
Legendary blade of fire and war, taken up by a char.
Word travels around, I guess. He offered to reignite it. That was the moment I should have known. Idiot. But it was also the moment I realized I could get Sohotin back. I'd wandered the mist for what felt like a lifetime, ancient battles repeating for eternity, and now there was a chance to take back the light, my light. I didn't ask who he was or why he was chained up. I was wanted my life back. You can reignite it. The stranger raised his arm, and the flame within Sohotin sparked, piercing through the gloom of the mist. Should have noticed how easily his muscle ignored the weight of his chains. I should have noticed the hungry flicker of flame in his eyes. But how much did I really see? How much do I just wish I'd seen? Sparks and cinders filled the air as I wrenched the blade from the stone. Its heat felt familiar. Now I was smiling too. With Sohotin, everything always seemed just a little easier.
That blade is truly a marvel,
the stranger said.
I see how you look at it. You appreciate how special it is.
I told him it was good at its job, but I won't lie. Part of me was vindicated. The stranger had no answer except to raise both his arms and stretch out his chains. And then I freed him. It was my fault. Everything that came after. All because I wanted that damn sword back. I told myself it was to free Ascalon of its curse. But that excuse didn't last long. I wanted the Sohotin because it was mine. Because I earned it. Or at least I paid for it. When Balthazar saw how I looked at it, could he see what I thought of myself without it? After I cut him loose, he went on to Elona, killed Blast, murdered the commander, struck the bargain with Joko, nearly destroyed the world, all because I want that sword back. It was my fault. And I'm just as powerless now as I was then. Couldn't keep Logan from leaving. Couldn't save Snap. Couldn't save Destiny's Edge or Blast or Aurade. Take away Sohotin and what am I? Who is Rytlock Brimstone without the legendary fire sword? Would I still be Tribune? Would I still be known throughout the High Legions? If I died and someone else took up the sword, could they do better? I looked around the ruins and thundered at Keep, at the commander, Kate, Timmy, Braham, my allies, my friends, my family, but there was more, a thought, covering deep in the back of my head, the cups I never see. I sent them off to the Farar years ago, that's what we do. Wasn't supposed to be a part of their lives, but it always felt wrong. My parents left me to the struggle. The only way a run survives in the Farar is to fight their own battle, tooth and claw. Still, I check in on them once in a while, just to see how they're doing, make sure they're staying out of trouble, and make sure nobody's giving them any. I'm never going to see them again. They look up at the sky as the mists disappear, and everything ends. Will their warband be there to help them? Some are too young. Haven't even left the Farar yet. They'll die never knowing the camaraderie of a warband, of a family, and my eldest, my first, will he even bother to think of me as the war comes apart? That's when the tears came. Finally, I realized why Kate was crying, why the commander was crying. To them, Orin wasn't just a dragon. She was their daughter. 11 years ago, I stood in the Crystal Desert and saw how powerless I really was. Even with Sothin, everything fell apart. Kralkatorrik escaped. My friends either died or abandoned me. My superiors called it acceptable losses. My whole life, I was told that my warband was my family and the High Legions were absolute. Everything I did, every victory I won, it was for them. Everything else I had to sacrifice was an acceptable loss. But they're not acceptable. Not when I keep losing people I care about. My comrades, my friends, my cubs. I'd never let it happen. Burn the High Legions. Burn them all to the ground. I barely know my cubs, but if Kralkatorrik threatened one of them, I'd sacrifice my damn sword in a heartbeat. I'd throw myself in front of them. I'll die for them.
Yeah, I guess I get it now. Rytlock?
Logan, his voice shakes me back to the present.
So you're pacing around.
I had been all over Thundered Keep. I am crouched on a piece of stonework away from the others, hiding in the shadows. Thought I'd be difficult to spot. Guess I was wrong. Just thinking.
Right.
I see Logan hefting something out of the corner of my eye.
You left this by Orin's... near Orin.
It's so hot. I can't remember leaving it anywhere, so I just turned to look at it. At Logan, trying to think of something to say. Nothing comes to mind until he lays the blade against the wall and turns to leave. Logan stops.
Yes?
He's waiting, patient. I'll give him that. I don't know how long he stands there, like some sort of siege, a friendly one. I glance at the sword. Didn't need it. Another silence, longer.
Come on,
He says.
let's check on the others. They need us.
After everything, how can I argue with that? I start to leave, but Logan's hand is on my shoulder.
Rytlock, your sword.
It's more than a sword, I know that much. I decided long ago that Sohotin was more important than Kree, who I'd left behind. I decided it was more important to have Sohotin than a family by my side. But I could kill every damn thing in the whole world. I could rule all of 4 legions as the next Kanur and I'd never be happy. It'd never be worth it. I couldn't fix the world. I couldn't even fix me, so I keep walking. Don't need it, I say again. It's just a sword. It'll be there when I get back. Logan looks suspicious.
You sure?
Even with Sohotin, I'll never be as strong as I need to be. But I'm not powerless either. Not while I have them. My warband, my family. Not while I can still fight for them. Yeah, it'll be